Hi everyone, come on in, come on in. Let's see what's going on here. Hi everyone. Well, I am going to get started. Just give you a minute or so, not even a minute, a couple seconds to get started here. Yes. Just clearing my screen here for a moment. And yeah. So I'm looking to see where I can see if you all are on. Is anybody on here yet? But I don't see that. So I'm just going to start chatting with you. Well, I'm Toni. And some of you, many of you know me because you've been following my page and noticing many changes this year and last year. And I wanted to just pop on today and reintroduce myself to many of you and introduce myself to some of you. Toni from Toni Brand, and I've been a nurse for, well, let's put it this way. I've been in the medical field for over 30 years now. It's been a long, passionate passion of mine to help others, right? So I started out at the age of like 13, 14, working in a daycare, and then really just kind of did the journey into nursing and then community wellness and here now in the cannabis space. I really took a lot of my time as a nurse trying to find myself as well as how a unique way to help others out there. So if I back up a little bit, let me just get on track and back up a bit. My journey into nursing started in the mid 90s, and along that time, my cannabis journey started. It was pretty much parallel to each other. During my nursing journey, it was very stressful, exciting and stressful. And then I got out into the working space of nursing, and it was, again, exciting but stressful. There was not really much support, easily to obtain support out there for nurses at the time. And me, I did a lot of travel nursing, so I ended up in various states and various hospitals working with different groups of people at really any given time. So I had to adjust and shift really quickly. And I think I masked that and covered up, which ultimately led to a buildup and burnout. So in Chicago, in the early 2000s, I suffered a professional burnout at the bedside. And it was traumatic for me on many levels. I remember just going through that experience and the healing that that took. At that time, I was utilizing cannabis, but I was also really deep into yoga and meditation and self wellness and trying to just find a way to help me get through the burnout without using medications. As a child, I was one of the children that was always sick with something. I had really bad eczema. I say debilitating eczema because it really was that debilitating, not necessarily physically, but mentally and emotionally debilitating to have a condition that I really had no control of. I really didn't understand, but I was put on a plethora of different types of steroids. And at one point, I was actually given Ativan at 13 years old. And for me, as a 13-year-old with a freedom to Ativan, it brought on a lot. It cured my depression. I didn't know this at the time what the Ativan was doing. They told me it was for itching to help me stop itching that would then inflame my eczema. So I got used to this Ativan because it did slow down the itching, but it also made me feel really good. In a 13-year-old's mind, it allowed me at that preteen, going into teenage stage, to kind of check out. And ultimately, I low key began abusing it and taking it not only for when I was uncomfortable or having eczema flare ups, but for my well being. So it was that process of then having this little tiny green pill and abusing it. And then once it became a reality that's what I was doing, the doctor immediately discontinued that. So I was cold turkey again with nothing for my skin except really, really strong steroids. And fast forward, as I was in the nursing profession and I really started to get into yoga and wellness, I thought, let me tune in with my body and see what I can do to help myself. What can I do naturally to help my eczema and to help my anxiety and to help my depression? And what I found is taking a natural path. As a nurse in the hospital and being so used to receiving whatever I needed prescription wise, I thought, let me take a different path and take control of my body myself first. And then if need be, I'll go inside and see a physician. That type of partnership versus what I was doing in the past for my eczema and for my anxiety and for my depression was immediately just taking myself into a physician's office. And I love physicians. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to tap into ways that were natural and where I was able to lead the way and then partner with my provider. So in came the curiosity and the awareness about healthy living and mindfulness, taking time out to just breathe and check in and tap in, movements through yoga poses, through breathing exercises. Just really, hi Mike, I see you there. Oh, I'm just going. I didn't know anybody was here listening to me chatter on. I'm excited too, Mike. Let me see who else is here. Thank you guys. You all are wonderful. But I really wanted to say I had to find a way to take all that, the breathing and the yoga and the self-awareness of wanting to heal naturally and make some pretty tough decisions that people were like, are you sure you want to do that? And I thought, yes. So the movement really helped, the yoga and the meditation. And then I was just, at that point, this was early 2000s, mid 2000s. So THC, cannabis, super illegal, right? Not something you talk about at that time. And when I did talk about it, I was shunned or people excused themselves from me, or I was labeled. I was labeled a lot and looked at crazy. So I learned how to not talk about cannabis. There was just a group, you have your tribe of cannabis folks that you can talk to. And because it was so hidden and it was so dark and stigmatized in my life, I really didn't realize or connect with the actual benefits that I was receiving until later on, I would say, 2012. And it was at a point where I said to myself, there's something really beneficial with cannabis, right? When I don't have it, I don't crave it, but when I do have it, it's my mental state is at peace. My depression is not so much. My anxiety, I knew that there were medicinal benefits, but I really couldn't tap in. So California then became legal. And I said to myself, let me get out here to California and tap into this adult legal marijuana, cannabis. Even though it was medically legal in other states, I really wanted to be someplace where I could go and just be my own research project is what I can say. So I came out here, took a certification class in some herbal making on how to make tinctures and oils and lotions and balms and all that kind of stuff, just using plant. And then I got into really trying to understand the endocannabinoid system. When I moved out here, that stuff became those were common words, endocannabinoid system, cannabis, because in all my degree programs to lead into nursing, I never once heard about the endocannabinoid system in detail. I heard about it in passing. But out here, there was more education, and I decided to dig in a little deeper and educate myself. I would go into dispensaries, ear hustle a little bit, and see what people in my age group were saying and trying to figure out. And there was still a lot of stigma behind it or taboo, or I found a lot of people with uncertainty of what they were purchasing, so they purchase a lot, self-included initially. But then I said, let me clean out, not have anything, and then start over. And that's when I moved into the CBD of it all and really started to notice the health benefits that the CBD began to provide me physically, mentally, and emotionally. Then I started adding it back in the THC because I love THC. I just love it. But I wanted a balance. And so I played around with what worked for me and would put me in a therapeutic for the desired effect I was looking for. Excuse me. I'm talking a lot. My mouth is dry. And so once I began to establish those therapeutic uh, effects, I really start to jot things down and thought this is really there's some good medicine in this plant. And people like me, I would say anyone born before 1974, we are from the stigmatization, the stigma, you know what I'm saying? The stigma of it all and the fear, right? The unknown. But we may be the same people that sit at home alone and purchase all of this cannabis and not know what to do with it. So I saw a need there that there's education and there's benefits that need to be had in this population because aging is the way we age has changed, and I just believe in a new approach to aging using plant-based medicine, and because it's worked for me. So I think that when we are the demographic that I'm looking to work with and I do work with, opening up and learning about this cannabis plant, learning how to bring it into your life in a useful way, in a way that removes any fears, in a way that's full of knowledge, in a way that you can begin to see results, right? And I don't know. I have so many thoughts going through about how unfortunate it has been that this beautiful plant is really still has a stigma and such a population that really can benefit from it. And we're slowly moving into removing stigmas, right? And we're slowly moving into getting people to even be open to talking about cannabis. So I say this to you. If we took the cannabis out, right, and we got you just into thinking of a new approach to living, an approach to living that maybe first it was just movement and breathing. And then you begin to notice changes in your blood pressure. You notice changes in your physical ability to move. And then you thought, well, let me inquire some more. What can I add here? Because I was on those blood pressure pills or I was on the heart medication, which you still may be. But let's talk to someone and see how I can combine a natural plant into my regimen, this movement regimen, right? Good morning, Nurse Toni. I'm sorry, I'm Mike's lady. Hi, Mike's lady. Hi, Sandy. You're so cute. All right. So that's where I'm heading. I feel like I'm rambling on, and I probably am. But I'm so excited about being in this space, and I'm on this live, just being truly transparent. That I wrote down a bunch of stuff to talk to you guys about, and my story is one that it's a long-lived one, and I can't really jot down and follow that, so it's making me feel really weird right now. So the truth of the matter is, I've been a long time cannabis user, and it has proven to have many benefits for me from back as a child. I can remember taking in the secondhand smoke of it all and feeling really good, but not knowing what that meant. But I did feel really good. And I've always enjoyed the aroma that cannabis has left in the air. It just creates a vibe. So growing up and battling with the stigma of it all on one end and knowing and seeing the calming and relaxing effects on the other end, it was something that I really embraced early on. And even throughout my nursing profession, I utilized cannabis regularly. I was a travel nurse, and I always found my plug no matter where I ended up at, because it was, I knew that would get me through my work. I worked in type A, high stress environments, from pediatric emergency rooms down on the south side of Chicago to Grady Hospital, the newborn intensive care in Atlanta, really high stress environments. And I would go home and my medicine would be a nice blunt. You know what I mean? So I, I don't want to like sugarcoat my story for you or make it sound oh, just thrilling, but it's real, it's raw, and I really am a person who has and continue to reap benefits from cannabis. If you know me, I had eczema really bad, really, really bad, and then I had all kinds of allergies. I've been misdiagnosed, oh my God, more times in my life than I care to discuss. But it has been mentally challenged. My relationship with cannabis has been, it supports me mentally because I've had a lot of medical mental anguish in my life, and so much so that about 15 years ago I decided that I wasn't going to take any type of prescribed drugs, medications, or anything, and I haven't. I've used cannabis, and that's a lot for people to believe sometimes, but the power that comes with taking care of your own body naturally, it's it's it just does something to you, you know. So what I can say here is that I hope you all are open to learning about cannabis and the benefits it provides you, are open to a new approach to aging, are open to moving your body in a different way, are open to using products that support healthy aging, that supports the aging body in general, right? Just open to a new approach of life. I believe that we should live our lives full of love, right? And the first love comes in that self love, treating yourself luxuriously. And that when I say that, I mean through self-care, mental self-care, physical self-care, and emotional self-care. Now, the material self-care is great too, but really treating yourself like you're a luxury item, and those two then equals longevity, right? And I think that's what most people want. We want a really loving, luxurious, long life. So if I say anything here today about myself, my journey has been one of learning to love, learning to be okay with treating myself luxuriously, and definitely knowing I want to live a long life. So that's me in a nutshell and why I'm here. So that's super uncomfortable to talk about myself. Um, so I'm going to stop, and I want to tell you about my product and my product line, my brand that's coming out. So like I said at the beginning, you all have been following me, some of you through a couple of changes, but I have finally in this space found something that makes me happy, and that's creating wellness with these hands, creating wellness with my heart. And I'm going to be launching a new product line. The first you'll notice is an essential oil massage candle, and the massage candle it's intentionally handcrafted by me for your wellness. The oils that are used, the butters that are used, I use them daily myself on my skin, on my body, and I'm excited to share this with you. I'll go into more detail because I think I've overstepped my time here, which I wanted to talk. um, Thanks, Kay. So give me some grace on my first live here, you guys. We all need a little grace and kindness, right? So yeah, look out for more. Oh, there's two other things I'm going to tell you before I wrap this up. One, starting off the year and just being healthy. Well, people tend to make New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan of those. I like self commitments. And one of the things I'm going to commit to this January, and I welcome you to join me, is 30 days of being sober. And living in California, you'll hear Cali sober. That just means no alcohol, all weed. Just kidding, but not. So I'm going to do this 30 days sober, and I welcome you to join me. I did 14 days in November, and it was amazing. It was absolutely life changing. So much so that I'm back, and I'm inviting you to do 30 days of sober with me in January. And I'll do check ins with you. We're going to have some yoga movements that we're going to do. And I think I'm going to stop using yoga movements, that term, because a lot of people, I'm aware of words that may make people a little, so let's do movement, right? We're going to have some movement exercises that we're going to get into. So please, please, please excuse the rattle of today, but get used to it because it is who I am. So I am going to check out, and I'll check back in for on the 3rd. And I'm going to bring you a little treat on the 3rd. We're going to do a little movement together. And these movements that I'm going to be giving you, they're going to be useful anywhere you are, any time of the day. Thank you for joining me on my live, and I look forward to connecting with you all in the new year. Take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, love yourselves, treat yourself luxuriously, and be blessed with a long, loving life.